Telling us we can go back down to Pinetown very quickly. Sipamandla Gorge, you're still there for us as well. He's there keeping a close eye out for us when the president arrives. Sipamandla, hello again. Let's come back down to you while we wait for you to tell us who has arrived. Just remind us what the eThekwini mayor said to you earlier this morning.
The COGTA minister in South Africa has just arrived here. The Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, Sihle Zikalala, is also here. eThekwini Mayor Mxolisi Kaunda telling me that it doesn't look good. In fact, let me see if we can get away with the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, Sihle Zikalala. Sihle Zikalala will join us shortly here for a quick update and briefing, to just get the latest information and statistics, to give us the latest update of the situation in the province, and then that's what we'll get. Baba Kuzen, Unjan Baba, thank you very much for your time. We are live on eNCA. I'm going to ask you to stand right where you're standing. Do you have the latest update for us? How bad is the situation in KwaZulu-Natal? We understand that it does not look good in terms of fatalities. The numbers are set to increase. What's the latest death toll?
Yes, we have a challenge. The numbers are not looking good. By yesterday evening, eThekwini recorded more than 45 deaths. iLembe was indicating that there might be about 12 people who pass on, and one or two in other areas. We are still consolidating figures, but that tells you that the death rate of people who passed on might be more than 60. And that is a number we are saying based on what we've already consolidated, but they might be more than that, and therefore we'll continue to take records, and by the day we will issue the final collected figures.
And more people are still missing. I get that you only count and declare those who've been found and certified by the relevant authorities. You do not include the missing ones for now.
Yes, we are concerned. There are many people who are reported that they are still missing. We are working with those communities who have reported, and we will ensure that we provide all necessary support so that we are able to ensure that those who are not yet recovered are recovered and deal with the whole situation together.
Yesterday you had an urgent executive council meeting. You resolved to ask the national government that KwaZulu-Natal be declared a disaster area. Has it been declared a disaster area, or the president will make that announcement? I see COGTA minister is right behind you.
We've declared the state of disaster. We will need a concurrence of the national government, which I believe they are concurring with us. We are starting already to collect the damage already that we incurred or we are going to incur. We suffered huge damage in terms of public and private infrastructure, as well as the loss in terms of businesses, but we hope we are going to recover. We've got a plan that we have already put in place that was always there, and we will ensure that that plan is not disrupted. We will implement it to ensure that we recover the economy and ensure stability.
And that will require the National Treasurer to release the funds immediately. And in the past, we have seen that when there is a disaster, emergency funds take time to be released. Are you hopeful that this time around you will get the necessary financial resources immediately?
I've been in touch with ministers, including the Honorable Minister of Finance, Minister Kodongwane, who are discussing the matter. What will be important is for us as the province to consolidate a comprehensive report quickly so that we'll be able to submit to them with the hope that they will respond with speed.
I know this is a natural disaster, Premier, but some people are questioning the infrastructure capacity in KwaZulu-Natal, your drainage system. Some people have raised concerns in Ladysmith and eThekwini in particular. People have been saying every time there is flooding, your infrastructure is unable to cope with the disaster.
Well, I wouldn't say so, because the infrastructure in KwaZulu-Natal, in urban areas in particular, is at a high level. It is the drainage system which is a problem in other areas. And the drainage system is disrupted by many things, including the communities which will throw anything and everything around. And I would not want to take blame to the people as yet, but we all have to work together to ensure that we are responsible to protect the environment.
Have you learned anything from the previous disasters? Because almost every year there is flooding in KwaZulu-Natal, but it seems as if not much has been learned.
Well, we've learned, I think we have been doing a lot in terms of encouraging people to stop building houses in wetlands. And that is quite important for us. The second thing is to keep the environment clean, including our drainage system. It should work proper and not be disrupted. We will continue to do that to educate the people, but I don't think it's the time to blame. It is the time to ensure that we respond to this disaster.
People build anywhere they can find a piece of land because they are landless, and it's your ANC-led government that needs to make sure that there is proper conducive land for them to build.
Yes, in most cases you will tell people that let's not build here, but the alternative areas are, you direct them to areas that are alternative, but some will resist, especially in rural areas and in the outer part of eThekwini. And therefore, that must not be a question of a blame, but it's a question of educating each other about the current environmental challenges and situation.
So this is clearly linked to climate change, and you need to ramp up your efforts in dealing with the impact of climate change, which is severe and visible.
Indeed, it is severe, it is visible, and it's clear that KwaZulu-Natal is prone to climate challenges, and therefore the mitigating strategies and plans should be at that level that will ensure that we are protected at all times.
How do you spread your resources across the province? Because many people are saying we are concentrating in eThekwini, which is the economic hub in the province. It's understandable, but far-flung areas like Umzinyathi, Ilembe and Uku districts are also heavily affected, and people there need urgent help with search and rescue missions in particular.
Yes, that's why in Uku there was a search and rescue team that was there, and Ilembe. So the operational center of our disaster management team is provincial, but it is spread in all districts. It's able to assist. As the province, we have built disaster management centers in each and every district. There is no district that has no disaster management center, and that is why we are able to intervene in all districts. That we are here doesn't mean that there is nothing that is happening in other districts.
You need to put your security forces on high alert. People are starting to loot during this tragedy.
Yes, the security team is working to ensure that we are on high alert. We condemn the attempt to loot, and the police are now all over in areas with potential of looting, and we are going to deal with that, crack down that immediately.
Have you quantified the economic impact in terms of losses due to these floods?
Not yet, but it's going to be hundreds of millions, but we are going to give a comprehensive report later.
Thank you very much for your time. That is the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, Sihle Zikalala, basically giving us the latest update, saying, well, they are busy consolidating the numbers and they will be updating the official statistics in terms of the death toll as we see more. Yebo sanibona njani ma? Sikhona uhambe kahle umhlangano wasebusuku. As the national government, are you ready to assist KwaZulu-Natal?
Of course we are. KwaZulu-Natal is South Africa. There is one government in South Africa, national, provincial. So, yes, we are ready.
Are your teams, engineers and other people with technical expertise from COCTA ready to come down, because the province will need additional human capacity and resources?
We will, as national, will send as many resources as we can, but we are mobilizing other provinces as well to see what the KZN must say what it needs, and then we will try and mobilize. Other provinces have offered that when they know what is needed, they'll be able to.
The Executive Council in KwaZulu-Natal has written or decided to declare a disaster in KwaZulu-Natal. Are you concurring? Have you concurred as the national government?
Not yet, but we are going to concur. Yes, we are going to concur.
That is the Minister of Culture, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, saying the national government will be concurring with the provincial executive of KwaZulu-Natal in declaring the province a disaster area.
Siphamandla, thank you very much and good morning. As can be expected that they would go on to concur and declare it a disaster, since we've seen the situation is very dire. You asked a very pertinent question, though, to Sihle Zikalala there to say, what have they learned at this point? Because this is not the very first time they have such a devastation. Yes, not to this magnitude, but it seems that they are just as caught off guard as any other time they've had such a disaster, Siphamandla. Siphamandla, I don't know if you can hear me there. Just referencing your conversation with the Premier Sihle Zikalala, you asked if they had learned anything from previous disasters similar to this one. And it seems that he didn't want to be drawn into that conversation, but rather to say, let's focus on the disaster now. Any lessons you believe they have learned from previous disasters?
I'm struggling to hear you, but yes, the conversation that we had with the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, we asked him whether the province has learned any lesson from previous disasters. Of course, he says they have learned something, but more so in terms of awarenesses, telling people what to do. But in terms of infrastructure development, maintenance and service, it appears that not much has been done. Yes, the Premier does concede that they need to do more in terms of ensuring that the infrastructure is in place, is well maintained. He is not adhering to blaming the drainage system, particularly in eThekwini, saying, well, it's got to do with human behavior. People are littering and people are doing things that they shouldn't be doing, but the infrastructure is there. So that is the answer that he gave us. Whether that is acceptable or not, it's for our viewers to judge. But the Premier did say the infrastructure in eThekwini and in other areas is sound, and therefore, according to him, is able to cope with these natural disasters. But of course, every time there is flooding in KwaZulu-Natal, there are those who will raise the issue of the drainage system, particularly in eThekwini. There are some who are saying the provincial government has not learned much, according to them, in terms of fixing the drainage system. Of course, no amount of proper infrastructure can prevent a natural disaster from happening. You can have the best infrastructure in the world. You know, when natural disaster strikes, you are bound to suffer. But at least if you've got a properly functioning, well-maintained infrastructure, you can mitigate and lessen the impact of the devastating floods or whatever natural disaster you are facing. We are waiting the arrival of President Cyril Ramaphosa. Unfortunately, I have to take it back to you in studio because I appear to have lost your communication for now.
All right, thank you very much. That's our reporter, Siphamandla Goge.